My stepsister is trying to take advantage of my grandfather. He's suffering with an illness, and she's trying to basically cheat him out of his life savings by convincing him to put her in the will. Well, there's some very key points I want to get into because this story is crazy. Alright, y'all, let me spill the tea on my stepsister in just 7 words. Cringe alert, she's a total Korea-boo. Yeah, I said it loud and clear for the first time. Her friends can hype her cringe behavior all they want, but she's nuts with her obsession with everything Korean. Most of the time. It sounds borderline creepy and disrespectful, but now you have got a peek into her whole persona. I bet that 85% of you are spot on with your guesses. But hold up, let's take it even further. Imagine that Korea-boo obsession mixed with a dash of ungratefulness, a sprinkle of rudeness, and a whole lot of obnoxiousness. Then you have my grandfather, old and dealing with Alzheimer's. That is 95% of the picture right there. So before I dive into the details, let me throw a question at you. What would you do if you had a stepsister like mine? Trust me, by the time you finish reading this, you will get where I'm coming from. So, when you're done here, ask yourself, what in the world would I do if I were in her shoes? Hey, I'm Maria, and until a couple weeks ago, I lived alone with my grandfather, Richard. The reason I no longer live alone with him is because of my stepsister Sara, who barged in unannounced at Grandpa's place one late evening. She had several things to say, but the moment she saw me, she went tight-lipped. It was as if she was rethinking her explanations about why she had come over in the first place. It was kind of funny, not gonna lie. Maybe my presence changed her mind, I would not know. My family drama could rival any soap opera. Let us start with the basics, but don't worry, I will not bore you with the details. Picture this. My parents are in a seriously messed up abusive relationship. I'm not saying I was cool with it, but they had some seriously messed up issues. They fought, they argued, and swung insults like it was a sport. And this was not some occasional thing, this was a monthly affair. I grew up watching this madness, turning into a young woman while they stayed stuck in their toxic cycle. But guess what? Eventually, they just stopped. No more drama, no more attempts to destroy each other. It was like they suddenly forgot the other existed. I still cannot figure out what changed, and honestly, I don't think I ever will. One minute they were desperate to be together, and the next they could not stand the sight of each other. And just when I thought my teenager angst was enough, bam! The divorce bomb dropped. Not that I was shocked, though, I kinda saw it coming. So they went through the whole divorce thing in one joint custody, but here's the kicker. I was practically an adult by then, so I said, peace out, you crazy people. Then my grandpa swooped in, God bless him. He was handling his own stuff, but he still managed to offer me a slice of heaven. So, guess where I ended up? Yeah, you got it, Grandpa's place, where the only drama present was Kim Kardashian. Oh boy, you thought the family drama ended. Nah, it's about to get wilder. So my dad, the only child of my grandpa, was his pride and joy, but one day he drops the bombshell that he's marrying his longtime girlfriend, and oh man, did all hell break loose. Grandpa lost his cool faster than a melting popsicle in a tropical country, and here's the kicker. Turns out my father, the master of deception, had been cheating on my mom all along. Surprise, surprise. But wait, there's more. He not only had a secret long-term girlfriend, but also a daughter older than me. Wow, yeah, you heard that right. His cheating escapades were not exactly new. My dad was just a pro at hiding it. Now, you can imagine how well that went down with Grandpa. He was already struggling with divorce, and now his son's betrayal shattered what was left of his self-respect. So, what does Grandpa do? He makes a swift, no-nonsense decision? He kicks my father out of the will? No questions asked. Outright family ties. More like family lies and deception. Welcome to the circus of life, people. It was a weird play of fate, but who was I to say anything? I cared for him and helped him in his deteriorating situation after my father refused to help him and care for him after getting his well-deserved karma. That meant I did my schooling, graduation, and my first job, all the while handling my grandpa. I'm not saying we were doing financially bad. Grandpa had a big home and his pension was pretty good. But hey, I was not about to ride out my entire life on his hard-earned cash, you feel me? So I hustled and did my thing. I managed to open up a flower shop. Yeah, you might think, big deal, it's just a flower shop. Well, yeah, you might think, okay, cool, but for me, it was triumph. Heck, even Grandpa was proud of me. Imagine that, cool flower shop owner in the making, all while dealing with life's craziness. You gotta find your wins where you can, right? Let me tell you about Sara, my oh-so-charming stepsister. Our interactions were as rare as a blue moon. We would occasionally cross paths at Grandpa's place, and that was the extent of our quality bonding time. Just like my dad, she could not care less about Grandpa's failing health. Classic, right? From our brief encounters, I gathered a few tidbits about her. She's mean-spirited, her priorities are messed up, and she is as superficial as they come. But hey, credit where it's due. She does have a nice voice, so not everything about her is a total disaster, I guess. But oh boy, she's taken a nosedive into the abyss of awfulness in recent years. Picture this. She's become vindictive, even meaner, verbally abusive, and sometimes she does not shy away from getting physical. Get this. She's a loudmouth who thinks she knows better than everyone else. Have you ever met somebody who just cannot shut up and thinks their opinion is the gospel truth? Yeah, that's Sara in a nutshell. Annoying, oh, you have no idea, plain and simple. This tale is a roller coaster of frustration and heartache. You know, it's not just the usual sibling rivalry that's getting under my skin. It's the dire situation with Grandpa that's really grinding my gears. His Alzheimer's, you guessed it. Classic case, right? But it's not the worst you've read about in the headlines. Yeah, it's bad. He forgets stuff and struggles to remember, but it's not like a full-blown scary thing. At least, not yet. But here's where Sara enters the scene and my blood boils. I've already spilled the tea that neither my father nor Sara give a damn about Grandpa. They could not care less unless they were handed a fat paycheck. And remember how Grandpa kicked my father out of the will? That really ruffled his feathers. What does his dear daughter do? She takes a horrible step. I'm not sure if it was intentional or unintentional. When I could not take Grandpa to his checkup for the reasons I can't share here, I trusted Sara with the responsibility. Big mistake. She decided it was a brilliant idea to abandon him in the morning rush, leaving him clueless and panicking because his memory was already betraying him. It took us 5 hours to locate him, battered, robbed. Can you believe the audacity? She shattered my trust like it was a joke, leaving Grandpa in a vulnerable state. Talk about a betrayal of epic proportions. So yeah, she's just annoying. She's downright heartless. Oh, ever since that incident, I've had a personal score to settle with her. I cannot say for sure if it was a malicious plot or just a colossal screw-up on her part, but I never forgave her for what she did. Grandpa might have forgotten it over time, but not before he made some major undisclosed decisions. He never told me the truth, and honestly, in the grand scheme of things we're talking about here, it probably doesn't matter. Then came her half-hearted apology, complete with a blueberry cake. And here's the kicker. Grandpa is allergic to blueberries. Now, you tell me, was that a carefully planned move or just another one of her accidents? Yeah, take a wild guess. After that catastrophe, things did not go full-blown disaster mode again, but she sure had a knack for leaving Grandpa unattended whenever we would step out. Sometimes it worked out fine, but her words, sharper than a double-edged sword. She would throw impolite, downright hurtful comments around like confetti. Her attitude unbearable, especially in front of grandpops. I have made it clear. Loud, crystal clear. I cannot stand her anywhere near my grandpa. I would prefer to keep her at distance, but you know how life is. It never really pans out the way that you want, right? Just like she and her mom wrecked my family and stole my dad. She seems hell-bent on doing the same to Grandpa, and it's like some wild twisted, real-life soap opera that never ends, so there I was, minding my own beeswax when she walked in, claiming she had some city business and nowhere else to crash. Newsflash, my dad is just an hour away, but hey, who am I to argue with her logic, right? Then out of the blue, she flips her story like a half-cooked pancake. Suddenly, it's not about her city plans, but her unplanned pregnancy. Classic move, right? And get this, she spills the whole tale to my grandpa. According to her, it was a drunken escapade. And now that she's knocked up, she's scared her parents will freak out. Oh, and did I mention she's supposedly 5 months pregnant? Yeah, right, she doesn't even look like it. Grandpa, bless his heart, still coughed up some cash for her. It's been over a week and she's still camped out in our lives. People, should I be hitting the panic button here? I'm 110% convinced that she's spinning a web of lies. If I've managed to expose her, what is my next move, huh? Would you, in your right mind, let somebody like her anywhere near your grandpa? Because frankly, I'm leaning towards a big, fat no. Top comments from the original post. Comment number 1 states this: I can't say if she's pregnant or not, but she's definitely a jerk. Clearly, after everything she's done, your grandfather is not safe around her. Why are you even letting her stay? Kick her out. I'm sure she has something stupid planned. I mean, that's how most of these cases go anyways. Who knows if you're dealing with the same kind of stepsister? Comment number 2. Step-siblings are never good news. Period. In all my 39 years of existing in life, I've never heard of a single appropriate happy-ending step-sibling story. Trust me. If you're so sus of her behavior, she's not good news. If she's changed her reason within a few weeks, what are the chances that she's not hiding something else as well? As some of the comments here said, dig deep instead of complaining about it. Update number 1. Can you believe she's casually swindled over $10,000 from Grandpa in just a few weeks? Yeah, I know, we have got a rich Grandpa on our hands, but seriously, this was past the line. And here's the thing, even if she's pregnant, what on earth is she doing with all that cash? Grandpa's always been a bit loose with his purse strings, so I'm not shocked that he doesn't question her much. He's so wrapped up in his health woes that his open heart at the moment just extends a helping hand too much. He's a giving soul, you know. But here's the real issue. Sara's attitude. She takes the money, puts on this grateful act, and by nightfall, it's like it never happened. Wake up the next morning and bam! There's another demand. Grandpa's stuck in this loop where he either pays up or asks her to wait, depending on whether he remembers it by the end of the day or not, and guess what? If he does not, Sara gets a little vindictive. It's like dealing with a relentless money vacuum disguised as a human being. What I would not give to slam the brakes on this whole train wreck, seriously, it's beyond frustrating. Oh, you're probably scratching your head, wondering why I'm even letting this circus continue, huh? Believe me, if I've asked myself the same question a million times, there is absolutely zero reason for Sara to be here, mooching off Grandpa's cash and strutting around like she's the queen of the universe. But here's the kicker. We had a major showdown about it, and I mean epic shouting match level. Usually Grandpa's accent and that hilarious, apologetic face of his would just crack me up. But not this time. This time it was deadly serious. And you know why? Because right in the middle of our fiery exchange, Sara dropped a bomb that left me convinced that she was up to something sinister. She blurted out, and I kid you not, that she's doing all this because my dear old father apparently needs it. Can you believe the audacity? It was like she dropped a hint so obvious it practically smacked us right there in the face. And guess what? On top of the comments echoed my suspicion. Turns out, I was not alone in my skepticism, and for good reason. I have got my eyes on her, and I'm not about to let her sneak her way through this mess. Well, now, that is something that we need to think about, no? I really don't know if my grandpa heard it, but I did, and it was very obvious, and she knew it too.
She immediately slapped a hand over her mouth, stared at me for a long minute, and then asked Grandpa if he had taken his medicine. Of course he had not. He had not eaten his dinner either. She didn't care for anything, and without waiting for an answer, she strolled into the room assigned to her and slammed the door shut. I grinned. I knew I had a loser on my hands. I honestly would not have given her much thought if she had not started talking trash to Grandpa and then tried her little manipulative game on my boyfriend. Now, picture this. She's already a jerk about the entire whole situation, not to mention being a cheater and everything, and then she had the audacity to be racially offensive. Remember how I mentioned she's a Koreaboo? Well, this dimwit thought my boyfriend was Korean and decided to unleash her ignorance. Little did she know he was Japanese. Yeah, completely different country. And no, he does not know much about Korea's mandatory military service, just the superficial stuff like most people. But, did she stop there? Oh no. That would have been too sensible. Instead, she went full-blown rant. I mean, picking random words from whatever anime she's been reading. It was beyond embarrassing. I mean, the cringe factor was off the charts. She seriously needs a reality check, but I doubt that's ever going to happen. Fueled by my anger, I stormed over to my dad's place to figure out what the hell they were plotting. There was no way Sara just randomly dropped my dad's name without solid reason, right? Plus, the timing of it was all too fishy, and you know what? My suspicions were bang on. The lawn was jungle of weeds, clearly untouched for ages, and the state of his home, it was a disaster, like it had either been through a wreck or had not seen a proper furnishing in centuries. I felt a pang of sympathy, but honestly not too much. Since the divorce and my choice to stick with Grandpa, both my mom and dad conveniently vanished from my life. It was as if they were celebrating their newfound freedom from reminders of their past relationship. I cannot vouch for the validity of their reasoning, but I would not deny it left a bitter taste in my mouth. Maybe that bitterness is why I came off as snarky and overly excited in this post. And maybe, just maybe, that's also why I cannot stand Sara. She seemed to be the one showered with affection. Well, here's a good laugh for them. All that love showered on her, and she turned out to be nothing but a colossal loser. Karma, anyone? It's funny how life works, is it not? I found myself wrestling with what to do about this entire mess. Sure, informing my grandpa would be the right thing to do, but how much of it could be really absorbed? He was already in his 70s, his memory was slipping faster than sand through his fingers, and I knew one thing was definitely for certain. Sara was interested in just about the $10,000. Something deeper, something darker was brewing within her family, and I could just not put my fingers on it. And to add to the circus, she had her own drama playing out. Dreams of going to Korea and snagging herself a Korean boyfriend, but none of that would be possible without cash. Could it all be connected? Maybe, just maybe, she's not even pregnant. Perhaps it's all grand fabrication, or if she is, could that just be the tip of the iceberg? My head was spinning with the question, and I just feel like I was standing at a crossroads with no sign to guide me. Guys, seriously, where am I supposed to go from here? Update number 2. Alright, let's get this straight to the heart of this twisted tale because time's ticking and I have a meeting with my grandpa's lawyer in 25 minutes, so here goes nothing. Money was the driving force behind all this madness, not just for Sara, but for my father and his new wife too. It was all part of their grand scheme, and I did not meet my dad when I went to check up on him. His living conditions spoke volumes. Combined with Sara's money-hungry antics, it all added up. But it was not until Sara left for one of her meetings that I snuck into her room. Yeah, don't judge me. It was absolutely necessary to find out what she was plotting. Lucky for me, her laptop was wide open, no password protection, Facebook was there, and voila! I hit the jackpot right there in the chat with my father. Granted, I did not see the whole picture, just bits and pieces, but it was enough to connect the dots. Remember when I told you my grandpa cut my dad out of his will? Well, my father was fuming about it. Without grandpa's financial support, He had zilch saved for the future, and he was banking on his inheritance. But now that he was out of the will, he convinced Sara to worm her way into Grandfather's heart. Too bad for him, Sara was not exactly the most patient or intelligent person to pin such high hopes on. She messed up right in front of the one person who had been by Grandpa's side the longest, me. She played her cards, and she played them poorly right under my watchful eyes. At first, the chat was friendly and confident, and all three of them sounded like the police's greatest headache. Their plan looked solid, and it was obvious they believed Sara would be able to win a huge amount of inheritance by just making up lies. For some moments, though, she almost did. My grandpa had already sent about $25,000 in her account, excluding the $10,000 I talked about before, but now I knew what she was up to. So I made some plans in my head. She even mentioned one conversation she had with my grandfather. In my absence, apparently it was about his inheritance. She wrote that she had discussed it with Grandpa and he promised to pay her something. She sounded elated in the chat, but I was going bat crap crazy. But that was not all. Apparently, she was running group orders for K-pop and K-drama related things as well. It's basically when a person takes the responsibility of handling large orders from a particular country and for multiple people, hence the name. Typically, it helps by reducing a lot of international shipping prices, which could oftentimes be bigger than the actual price of the item. A headache, really. Anyways, she was running one big order until she was not. In simpler words, she'd stolen the money and she scammed 47 people in this single order, the amount totaling over $12,000. This was marvelous, the proof was right there, so I recorded it all and copied the entire thing. She had other proof in her different folders as well. She was smart, but not that smart. If only she had remembered to put a password in this, and then there was another thing. Hidden under her mattress, which for whatever reason I thought I should do, I found my grandpa's credit card. Crime after crime, tisk tisk. This whole situation is a testament to her idiocy and utter disrespect. She's so obsessed with Korea that she's resorting to scamming people for money. It's mind-boggling, honestly. I don't know how much money my dad and her mom are involved in this, but oh dear God, somebody chose the wrong way of handling these kind of situations. I immediately talked to my grandpa about it, and though he cannot understand much, let us blame his poor hearing and old age, he called his lawyer and he told him, "There's a situation," and that his granddaughter needed to say something, and his lawyer booked the next day. And that's where I'm headed right now. I'm sure that I'll be back. Let me see how it goes. Update number 3. Okay. Guys, you've got to hear this one. My grandpa, total Chad. Not kidding. I mean, I cannot think of any other way to describe the epic stunt that he pulled all those years ago. So, not only did he boot my dad out of the will, but get this, in a burst of either rage or sheer grandparental fondness, he made me, the sole beneficiary. Yep, you heard it right. Everything's coming my way. Not my dad, and definitely not his daughter, Sara. Now, I'm still wrapping my head around what this means for my life, because honestly, living with Grandpa has been smooth sailing. He's treated me like his own, showered me with love, and given me everything that I really needed. In return, I cared for him, called his doctors or nurses if things got a bit too serious, but here's the real deal. I found all this out after a little chit-chat with his lawyer. According to him, there's no chance in hell that anybody else would get a dime. It's all mine. A reward for standing by Grandpa's side when my dad messed up big time. Talk about a plot twist, right? You'll not believe the circus they created, all for nothing. I'll break it down for you, just so you know how utterly pointless their efforts were. After this, I'm closing the chapter on this mess for good, and it's dragged on for far too long. Anyways, so my dad, left with nothing after Grandpa booted him out, tried to salvage his future. His colleagues, in all their wisdom, lack therefore, advised him to invest, but here's the deal. They conveniently forgot to mention the golden rule, put money in and leave it alone. No, they thought buying and selling constantly was the way to go, but surprise, surprise, it never is. He ended up losing everything that he left, and to compensate, he worked himself into a frenzy. Then there's Sara, with her extravagant dreams and the sinking ship of parents' finances. Her genius plan? Dig into Grandpa's life. Little did she know she had not counted on me or Grandpa's foresight into her bright idea. Fabricate a pregnancy story to make her situation sound dire, but the thing is, she did not even have a boyfriend, let alone any random hookup. It was all a web of lies, as empty as their schemes. Talk about a comedy of errors, right? Well, they played their cards, and now they've got nothing but a losing hand. So Sara, in her brilliant wisdom, decided to start a business. Go. As I mentioned in my last post, people placed orders, and the temptation of $12,000 proved to be too much for her supposed moral compass. Surprise, surprise. Morality lost the battle. She scammed her customers, and I did not let her get away with it. I shared the proof of her scam with everyone, showing that she has not bought a single item with the money. As a result, PayPal blacklisted her, and both the police and PayPal are breathing down her neck. She's in hot water. Though, knowing how things go, she might just get away with the fine. Who knows? As for her parents, they're no angels either. Sara had stolen Grandpa's credit card to cover some of their expenses, and now that's all out in the open. They're facing their own set of charges. So needless to say, there's not a silver lining in sight for them. It's all downhill from here. In the middle of the chaos, there's not much news on my grandpa, to be honest. You know how it is with Alzheimer's, it's a constant battle, and it might just get worse as he grows older. But hey, the silver lining for me? I'm still by his side, that's something, right? Top comments. As this post progressed, it got progressively bad. To be honest, I'm definitely sad about your grandpa. It sounds like a headache to be old, so much drama, and you don't understand crap. He's definitely Chad, pulling a stunt like that. Maybe your stepsister should go to jail. Doing all that, it's bad. It's very bad. I keep losing hope in this new generation so much. Something's definitely going horribly wrong, not to mention the attitude problems. It's so annoying. Comment number 2. Sara freaked me out. 27 and still so cunning. I hate Korea boos. Ew, they disgust the heck out of me. How the heck did they get so bad? Ugh, she deserves it. And worse, they freak me out. Plus a scammer. A total disaster, honestly.
So this evidence found on the laptop was what OP needed to seal the fate. I want to know your thoughts about this story, guys. Let me know in the comment section downstairs what you would have done if you found yourself in OP's position and you know that your stepsister is up to all this trickery, trying to deceive grandfather out of everything. I want to know your exact plan, guys. Thank you for joining me on today's video, and if you don't know, my name's Mr. Reddito. I narrate stories every single day about dramatic stories which always have a little bit of a twist. If you want more videos, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys tomorrow, but do remember one thing. It's cool to be kind. Peace.